What is the gem?
Library.
Huh?
Library.
Yeah, it's a library in Ruby sense. So in a project, so let's pick a project that we built in the past. I think I don't know this one. So in this project, okay, we have, let's take a look at our gem file. Is any gem that is cool? Like let's say we look at the bootstrap gem. Do you know where it is? If you need to figure out, oh, what's the code in the gem like, you know how to find out? One way is to use Ruby gem, Ruby mine, and then go in there and then click on this gem, and it takes you to that folder. Now, because you're gonna say with bundler, it gives you the syntax. So, okay, so you can actually see where the path is. Now, in the terminal, you can do that. That gives you the, I hope I'm right. It sort of give you the string, right? So then now you can say, you can open this guy. Then it take, with Finder, it will open you into this place. So for example, if you now want to open, and instead you can scroll Visual Studio Code or Sublime or anything, you can type that and it takes you to the folder, the gem, right? So in this folder, what is this bootstrap gem really? Let's look into this lib. What is it, right? It has a lib folder, it has some test folder, but the most important, the sort of the file that tells the system what it is the gem spec file. Development dependency means it's only for development. Runtime dependency means when you use Bootstrap, you will need these gems. And does that make sense? And
we can see the dummy Rails app dependency.
Where?
The command app, yeah, the last dummy Rails, the block command, dummy Rails app dependency.
Is a word dummy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it comes with a dummy Rails app, so you can test Bootstrap with the dummy Rails app. Does it make sense? It comes, so it's a simple one, so you can create a test on it there. So in the test, you sort of you have a dummy Rails app, so then you include Bootstrap into it. Okay, so this gem, notice that in the gem file, you don't really need the, what's really interesting, you don't need to specify the gem in the gem file. You actually specify in the gem spec file, okay? And in gem file, there's a syntax called gem spec. It will load all the required gems from this gem spec files. So that's the convention. Interestingly, I don't know why, but they say, oh, in addition, right? In this gem, if you're in development, it includes this asset. You notice because of this problem, well, because of this code, when you first started this course, when you deployed to Heroku, it stopped working because you forget to add tether, but it works locally. And you're like, why does it work locally? Because someone actually added this line, and I don't like it. I think that's not best practice. So in general, your gem file is empty with just gem spec line, and only the libraries you need is here, but any library that you use to develop the gem, then you can have under development dependency. What's interesting is this is similar to, in some cases, people have gem that is Rails engine. Means you can have like an app folder, a vendor folder, and then you can include into your Rails app. Bootstrap doesn't do that. So Bootstrap just provides these files, and then it writes its own code to find Bootstrap and put it in the Rails engine. So it's a little bit more code, but basically this is just Ruby code to load all these files and make it available for your required Bootstrap import bootstrap statement. Anyway, and that's, if you're curious, you can look at any of those. Let's see another one. Do we want to see another one? Like, roll bar, it'll be the same thing, but now you know how it works in that thing. So let's create a gem, right? If you build a gem, what are some ideas? Ideas for a gem? Huh? I think well, for as long say there's some map, convenient map function. Okay, helper, methods. Okay, for gem, and then what do you say? Magic. Matrix. Well, what? Multiplication. Okay, nice. This is good because there's already a gem like that, right? For example, Ruby matrix gem. There's already like actually it's built in, but when you require it, then an array can become a matrix, so, right? You can convert an array into a matrix. Now then some guys actually did this, which is like, so people write faster matrix and more advanced matrix gem, right? So if you're into math, you could start building your own gem that way. So that's the idea, and you can do multiplication stuff. If they don't have it, you can build it, but for Ruby, a lot of things is already built in, so it's kind of nice. Now, I will remind me to talk about Rails assets. In the past, people actually have to build, let's say, if you need to include this JavaScript library, for example, something like Chosen is a JavaScript library that lets you convert a drop-down into nicer, like standard drop-down like this, into nicer autocomplete drop-down that you can do like this. Now then people to include this into your gem file, because it may require other files, and if you just put it in the vendor file, it may not work very well, especially if it needs images, because the JavaScript file cannot call the fingerprinted asset path, file path, right? Yeah. So then people write something called Chosen Rails, and then those are really basic gems. These are basic gems that basically you put you create a folder similar to the Rails structure, put it in the assets folder, put the file in there, see similar to your vendor asset, and then in the lib, let's see, it chooses, this is a little old, alright, it uses connect with Rails tie. Newer version is Rails tie, earlier is Rails engine. But it just basically connect, and then when you include this gem, it hook up as a Rails tie, and then this gem will provide the extra folders for your Rails app. So, however, every time you have a library that includes some images, and it's annoying to have to do it every time. That's why some people prefer using a different package management for front end, like Webpack. Well, you can use npm or Brunch or Browsify. But then Webpack is different, right? Webpack is for bundling the JavaScript. I'll talk about that later. But then this is another way. They actually can automate the process. So if you can find a lot of gem and you can use it directly. So instead of using the Bootstrap SAS gem, Ruby gem, right? You can also do this. Just put it like this, and it will find any package with the Bower JSON config. So this Bower.json is the same as gem file, but it's for front end packages. But this is not the some people like this practice, it's convenient. Some people don't like because it's a bit magic, and people don't use Bower anymore. They start using npm more. All right, let's build our own gem. Let's call it. Here's an idea. I want to display the list of movies that are available today. So I want to be able to do something like this, movies, and it will display me the list of movies in the cinema. All right. So how do I do that? So you can create a bash script, or you can write a Ruby gem. So let's go to this website. These are the movies we have in Vietnam, right? And click on this guy, and you're like, oh, I can see these movies. Let's find a URL that is easy to look at. As you use it a little bit more, you're like, you see, oh, I click on each movie, it gets here. So I discover that if you go to this page, hold on, it lists all the movies, right? Sounds good? How do you get the list of movies on the browser? Here. All right, let's say now I need you to copy and paste for me all the list of movies. Okay, so can you do it? Can you guys try? Go to 123film.vn/ and show me if you need to copy and paste the list of movie names and paste to me. How do you do it?
We also need to call the data from other side as well.
The what?
We need to dump data from other side into our system. The existing competitor.
For your project, right? Yeah. So this will help you. Okay. So no need gem, but in the process you learn a good way to do it. So what you learn in this gem will be useful for the project. All right. So here, you have 2 minutes for that challenge. Print out the list of movies. Print out the list of movies. All right, from 123film.vn/film. It should look like this, right? Blah blah blah. Second one's full.
That's the name all you want to link.
Huh?
That's the name all you want to link.
I just need the names. This is a 2-minute hackathon. You have 1 minute left. All right. For those of you who watched this at home because you didn't come to class today, please also try to do it. Pause and try to get the list of movies by JavaScript, by jQuery, or by anything you like, the fastest way. Maybe copy and paste the HTML and go to your text editor and find and replace. Who has the answer? Okay, first let's look at this guy. Each of this box, right? Okay, if you click on this, you can read something interesting here. Each of this box is a movie class name. Inside this, you have a link. You have rating. You have published date, like the date is shown in the cinema, and then you have this thing. This is a link with the text that is what? So this is enough. What is the class name here? Film name. So go in here, type .film name, enter. You get these guys. How do you get the text? jQuery treated it as an array. If you do this, you get a list of text, but then this is the text of everything. So how do you get an array of movie names?
Try to run each with this normal.
You can use, well, you shouldn't do each, you should use map. And it's this map, and this function, you can pass in an index you don't really care about, but in this one, then you can say is well,
This. That's, yeah.
uh-oh, what happened? Actually, jQuery passed a different, unfortunately, there's a different map. So you actually want, JavaScript map is different from jQuery map. So you can use this map here, right? So map, and then return. Do I need the return? Yeah, I missed the return syntax. All right, you see that one?
Yeah.
So this is, of course, you can also do it slowly, one line at a time. This is a one-liner. How do we do this in a most scalable way? We write test, code, and we test it. Let's do it with the Ruby way, okay? So let's create a gem. So you call bundle gem. Create a gem called, I'm going to call it lecture 7. And I think I already have, let's say, so first is the name of the gem. Inside you can have many classes. The name of the gem is more like, their namespace. So I'll just bundle gem, what should we call it? 1, 2, 3, okay, just call it 1, 2, 3 film, okay? No, we might be able to support more than one website. So we call it, I'll just call it lecture 7. Alright, so I already have this folder, so let me just move this folder out. Let's try again. Alright, first step, bundle gem lecture 7. Let's create an empty gem for you. Look at the files it generates. Interestingly, it does aspect by default for you. So we go into lecture 7, okay? And if you do git status, it already does git init and git add for you. So you just say commit what? First commit, right? Next, we're going to run bundle. This is going to install all the dependent gem, right? However, what does it say? For this to work, you need to change your gem spec file here, right? Fix me in to do. Okay, so what does it do here? The gem spec file I showed you earlier. You can ignore all the other ones here, but here's information. So what's in to do? What is this? Demo of a gem that pulls data from on a website. And then this will be like a longer description that we don't need right now. And this is the website. You need an HTTP or HTTPS, so we just go to school. Right, try to read this file, and if you have questions, just ask me. Right, this is interesting. It basically say by default, if you push this gem online, it will crash. You actually have to specify the server. So you can either comment it out or say, okay, I will push this gem to http:/rubygems.org. Okay. Now this is cool. You see this backtick? Same. It using bash list all the files that are in Git. It ignores the files that Git ignores, right? And then you just split this. It means you get the list of files, and then these are the files, and you only select the files in the test folder or spec folder or feature folders. So these are the spec. What's it? And you will reject. You don't. It means these are the files in your application, right? When I require these, this gem, it knows that these are the files that it should look up. So if you look at the folder here, it will exclude the spec folder, reject, and then anything else like, okay, bin folder, lib folder, it will know, so you can require the files in here. Alright, looks good. So what is the one thing we're going to add? I want to add a gem called, well, we'll do test-driven approach, okay? Dependency guard aspect. I want to add this gem, okay? Let's look at the gem file. Like I said, it's just that much, okay? Specify your gem's dependency in this file, so don't update your gem file. Unlike Rails, in your gem, you don't commit gemfile.log. So it's actually ignored, okay? All right, so it's so that, you know, the dependency is already, because the dependency is specified in here, and we will add some dependency later. We don't need any library yet. So using .log is just, it's just not, it will cause problem, right? So let's run bundle. Bundle is short for bundle install. Now it will install, I already have some of these, so it install guard aspect. Great. Let's see what I've added. Only the guard thing, so let's add bundle exact guard init, right? Is that right? So we have a guard file. You look into the guard file, basically anything time you save any file in, you know, it's smart enough to run the corresponding files when we run the test. So it's good. It understands our spec. We're good now. I think I'm just going to commit all of these files. All right, one more time. Okay, this add guard aspect. So let's do test-driven development here. I run guard. Great. What is the file that I should start with? Lecture 7 spec here. So if I save this file right now, it will run the spec. Yeah? And okay, any gem you need a number, a version number. So it's already in here. See, I have version 0.1.0. I need the first test. All right, dude, can you write me the first test? We're doing test-driven development.
Yeah. Maybe we can test like we can find the file we stay under the lib. Maybe like if we include JavaScript or we can check the file as it's in.
Okay, yeah. So you can add some gems, some tests to make sure their features are covered. You know, like some of the tests to be more careful. I'm going to start with sort of outside-in approach. I start with, let's say, what do I really need this gem to do? Return a list of movies, movie names. Okay? All right. So at first, I'm like, I expect lecture 7 is only my module as my gem. So I actually, maybe I have a movie class. Okay? And I have, in these movies, I have the list of movies, okay, or maybe all, something like that. Does that make sense? So then I say to equal something. So I say it's empty for now. So when you do this is your test-driven thinking, right? What error do you get? Test-driven is about red, green, red, green. So we have red. Let's make it green. How do you make it green? Go in here. Okay, class movie. And then save again. Alright, and then it say there's no method all, right? So then you say the def self.all, and then you, let's say you return nothing. Great, then it passes. So then you can commit and say my first test passed, right? So something basic, let's say first test. Alright, next. In some cases, we need to specify the source. We want our app to be quite powerful, maybe. When does it return nothing? Maybe we need to specify the date. So this shouldn't be a class method. I want something like this. I'm thinking, right? As I build, I'm thinking, okay, it's a movie. Well, I need something more like a search module. And in that search, in a new search, it returns a list of movie. Right? So it's up to you how to name it. But let's say, okay, so I'll just call movie here, but this will be a search. So I think it's better to call search. Okay. And then what I want is search dot like that. See, we can change our mind. And then when you run this again, then things clash, but then you can just change now movies. Okay, we now can add better result. So you say returns. You actually can add return nothing by default. And this is pretty much, that's what you have. But when you actually specify, so let's say search is lecture 7, search new, maybe you can specify the URL. Okay? So I support maybe 1, 2, 3, film dot what? VN/film. And then you expect this search dot movies. Okay, stop me if it's not clear. To be, now you want it to be a little bit more interesting. You actually want like this guy. So I copy and paste this one in here. How do I, not this, down here. I copy like that, and I paste in here. It's a little small, huh? Let's make it bigger. Alright, so okay, what is it? Okay, so it's an array of movie, and we have to make this test pass. Huh? It's already an array, right? So let's replace all the comma, space to comma. It's not respecting my. Never mind. I was going to insert a new line, but it's not helping. Okay, so it's like that. We have the whole thing here, but okay, it's an array to equal this guy. Okay. So what happens when you save this? Wait, I expect this to equal this. Okay. Let's make sure the syntax is correct. Oh, whoops. Okay, this is too many. So I'm gonna just write a simpler test, which is something like that. Alright? So never be, too afraid to just write more tests and help us get closer to the result. Now there's a problem. First, it complained, how do you make that test pass? How do you make that test pass, guys? No, you need to take the argument. So def initialize, right? So maybe URL. Eventually, you'll probably have an option like that, and you can say URL is options URL. Okay. Save this, run. Great. So now we need to make this pass. Okay. So let's say in this movie's thing, maybe, in fact, if you don't specify the URL, maybe it should complain, or maybe you can make it like the default should be this URL. There's a lot of options to enhance your gem. For now, I'm saying, okay, if, right, URL, Now, if you want to turn this into something that you can access, like search.new.url, then you can convert it into an attribute reader URL. Then now you don't need @URL, but you can use URL anywhere. So if that, then something like that. Okay, so I need some magic in here. Okay, I will say search by something like scrape. I don't know what. Yeah, I think scrape by the. It's okay. Search on. All right, URL, and then you pass it, for example. And then if you save this, what happens? It will complain that method doesn't exist. Keep all your method, keep your function small, right? The method small. Search on this URL. All right. So now we need to do something similar to this guy. Okay. The logic is now just this method, and in Ruby, you have something called mechanized Ruby gem. That is quite nice. If you have the gem, then you can call an agent and you can access to the property. So let me show you. Let's say if I now have like agent is agent is mechanized.new, and then what page is agent.get, and then this URL. But by now you're like, whoa, I don't know how this gem works, right? Do I keep writing code like this? All right, let's learn the gem first. I will go into the gem spec here. I know I will need this gem as a runtime dependency. The word runtime is actually optional. You can say add dependency. So runtime dependency, what's that? Mechanized. Okay. Obviously, you should probably put the version number there. And now I run bundle. Here's a cool thing. You can run bundle console. It will load the gem file, so it understands what libraries you need. So now you say require mechanized. Great, it's true. So now I say agent. It's like starting your browser, right? Right? Now you say browser. Go to URL. http 123film.vn/film, and so it goes there and it parses all the data for you. So just like jQuery, it now understands all the text in there, right? But I forgot to assign a value to it, so I assigned something to it. Of course, you can also do it like this. You assign the last value. So now I have 8. So what's cool about it? Now in this page, now you can get the links. So if you say a.links, it displays all the links. And you can explore, oh, what's the link? Oh, it's a link class, it's something that it's a text and ref. So you can actually say, oh, what is the text? Ah, I see. All the links on the page. So you can say links.map text. Ah, that's all the links on the page, right? So then, however, these guys say, well, you can do, an array. You can filter in the link by the text, or you can find only one link with link with, and then you can find all link with links with. So remember the things. Now we can on jQuery, you can say links with. Who knows how to put it?
Class.
Yeah. So if you do this, so you get all their object there, right? So of course you can do what I just did, and the text, and you get the list of movies. So let's go back to this guy. Down here, I now know I have an agent. I go to this page and I can do what? Page links with. So I'll just change this method to get links. I don't know. This is like search on URL. Okay, I want it to be more specific. Links with class name. What?
Oh. But it's easy for 1, 2, 3 feet.
Right. This is only for that. So for example, you can say there's a configuration in here, like filter. I will expand the option a little bit later. All right. So if I do this now, I get all the links, and then if I want the movie, then I have to get the text, right? Run this. What happens? It say, oh, there's no mechanized, so now we need to require mechanized here. All right. So you see, now spec. What's the problem? It's almost there, right? You want the first thing to actually be the name like that, so you save it, it will become like, okay, I need to go up here, like, and make it pass. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's cool, and then you're like, what's the first question that comes to mind now? Every time you test, you have to visit the server. You're like, oh, why, and then you keep testing, and then the server will detect that you actually sending too many requests, they block you, and then you cannot run your jam again because you have to wait another hour. Yeah, like if you test, huh?
Probably yes.
Yeah, it could happen. What
Can you
else?
set interval for like check it within maybe a few hours? So make sure that's for the thing that you're exhausting the server.
Okay, good. So if you can check it like interval. Well, our tool only when you run say what are the movies, then it will check the server, right? But when we're coding, sometimes we put it in a loop, like an array, and then you just send a lot of requests. Now here's what's next is here's a cool thing. We're going to use another gem. That basically when you make a request, it will save the request. So the next time you make the request, it will just look at the data that you saved. This is the same as you not wanting to wake up at 2 a.m. to watch the football match. So you put the tape, recorder there, you record it, right? Yeah. So it's the recorder. But before then, I add this, so say basic search working, right? So let me introduce you guys to Ruby Gem VCR. Right? What's a VCR? Video cassette recorder or something like that, right? So the idea is, we get creative, and we're going to save these gems in this VCR. Alright, so let me make sure I commit everything. Good. Let's add the gem. What is it? Lecture 7.gemspec. Now this gem is only used for, it's unlike mechanized, you actually only need it for development. So let's put it under, I don't know, so we need a few more. So VCR here, that's good. And is that enough? Let's see. Bundle. We have to follow the instruction though, right? So it's quite crazy. VCR is like, it provides you the structure to save the web request into a YAML file and you can read back. But how do you submit the request? It depends on the library that you use. So there's a bunch of library to submit HTTP requests. Mechanized is one. It's actually not in here for some reason. I think mechanized use one of these guys. Maybe net HTTP. This is the default. Okay. And there's also something else. It's called mocking. So this down here, it make HTTP request. This guy is like pretend making HTTP request. And VCR is like, when you pretend, I give you the data to pretend. So there are three components there. Okay? So it's a little tricky. Now that's there's so many of these things to read. So I will just simplify the setup for you. You go to spec helper. This is setting up your spec. Okay, so down here actually we require VCR, and I am requiring, I pick one of the libraries that I use for faking, stubbing the request. I use webmock. Okay, then you can search like use webmock with VCR, but I say require webmock, and then I have to set things up. So there should be a setup block. Setup dot setup. No, VCR dot setup. No, how do I use it? Oh, configure. Okay, configure. So VCR dot configure. Do take a block, right? Block is one of Ruby's interesting feature. Config dot cassette library dir is, just put it in any folder. So we'll put it in like spec folder, maybe VCR folder inside the spec folder. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Not a fix. It's like fixtures really. Then you say hook into. So webmock is like your TV, right? It's just playing stuff. So you can be playing from the cassette, or you can play it from directly from cable TV, right? HTTP, the library that you like, a few HTTP library here is like what you pay your cable, get the data. So hook into webmock. It also means I have to run webmock. I have to include webmock as well. Let's run bundle, and this guy will need to start again. Okay, let's test aspect. Whoops, spec. You run aspect. Let's test running spec to see if setup works correctly. Okay, what's going on now? So because we set up VCR, now we actually, and we say hook into this, it say now if you make a request, I am going to complain because I don't know how to handle this request. Okay. VCR is actually trying to protect you. It prevents you from making the request. It requires you to have data, right? So then now we have to make sure that this, let's read this error. Just read it a little bit. So the HTTP has, and you don't know how to handle, right? There's no cassette in use. So how can you create a cassette? It means you have to first run it once and then save it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're surprised, blah blah blah, I'm not surprised. You can use longer. If you want to record this request and play it back, you should say use cassette. Okay? Okay, so how do I say use cassette? I say down here, use cassette. Okay, so in your test, you say use this cassette. Okay, so where's my test? Where's my test? Down this one, right? This guy is complaining here. So I say I can use cassette. But let's read the instruction a little bit more. If you use cassette, that should work. But if you want to handle request, you can say allow HTTP connection when there's no cassette. It means the first time there's no cassette, it will load, and then the second time it will use the the thing from the files. So that's probably the most convenient way, right? Make sense? And if you don't want this, if you make so many calls to Google and other websites, you don't want it to complain, you can say ignore. So I like the option 2 and 3. 2 is very good for me to learn. Use cassette, and then you specify it. 3 is very convenient, right? So you can say allow HTTP connection when no cassette is true. Let's try that. How do I put it? It's under the spec helper. So config. Alright, let's run this one more time. Great, it passes. What? And check this out. There's a VCR folder. Uh-oh. There's nothing in here.
Because it is the first time you
Right. Well, first time, and also I didn't tell it what cassette to use, so I need to tell it what cassette to use. Right? In my test here, what cassette should I tell it to use? You can use a before block or so let's say use cassette here, VCR. So it's a VCR.use cassette movies. Okay, do. Is that okay? Does that make sense? My test, I know that it's gonna call the internet, and then let's see here. So now from now on, it uses this cassette, and you can see that it get the data and it save all the data in here. This is from your web page, which is cool. You can just start from here. You can submit a request. You know, so with now, if I turn off my internet, I run this, it will work. Right? Earlier, if I turn off my internet, it cannot work. So let me see. I'm going to turn off my internet. And I say ping google.com. Cannot find it. Okay, run spec. Okay, it works. And just to make sure, you know, if you delete this folder, obviously it will stop working.
That's the file.
Right? Now, this config is just convenient, right? When there's no cassette, it will allow the connection. So I guess you don't really need it. If you submit this gem, now from now on, you submit this, you commit this to GitHub. If you have this cassette already, then you can always test the same thing. However, if you don't want this committed because it has some sensitive data, then you can turn on this allow connection so that when people run it, maybe you want to git ignore it and then allow it to run it for the first time. Make sense? Cool. So how do I use this gem? So I already have a gem. It works. It's nice. How do I know it works? How can you use from here? Bundle console. It's loading the stuff in this gem. So you actually can call, remember your lecture 7 module? You can call what? Search. You can call search.new. And in this guy, you can say dot what? Guys, we never turn on the aircon. Come on. How do you... no wonder some of you are like sleeping. How do you use this? So I'm going to improve the gem a little bit. If you don't specify, then I'm going to call http dot this anyway. I don't know, maybe not put it here. It will make some of my tests fail. That's okay. We change the test. This one. Okay. And then this movie. So let's see if it works. Okay. So I don't have, I'm too lazy to type. Search.new and then .movies. Alright, what happens? Oh, there's no internet because we're trying to use it. So let me turn on the internet, switch it on, and the internet's not very good anyway, right? Let's try again. Alright, so we get all these movie names. Of course, you can, enhance it and make it better. Obviously, our test, go back to our test, it's gonna fail. You know why it's gonna fail? the empty case, right? So let me just do some silly. If I save it right now, this thing's gonna fail. But I think I'm gonna make it pass by like, you know, okay, I pass nil, then it should pass. Uh-oh. Huh? Sort of like, well, nil is not enough because it's not gonna pass. So, you know, and that's a spec. So let's go to the lecture 7. This is because nil is gonna evaluate the second one anyway. Something like that, and you can actually make this better. This you can call it like, you know, search pattern. Okay, and up here there's, you can, if you want to support more than one, search what's it, search pattern, same thing. You know, so for example, options pattern or that. And because things get a little specific here, why not? You're actually creating more like 1, 2, 3 film search, and then you can support other search. So in here, then you can call, like, you know, it inherit this search guy. You can add the text, inherit the search, and so that this default is only true for film search. Okay. So okay, let me just explain a little bit here. By now, your lecture 7.rb becomes too big already. You should actually separate the logic into, I create a file in, you know, lit lecture 7 / you know, this is like a search.rb, and I move this search in there. Okay. Alright, so most gem you actually have the real class in there like that. Usually you can say module lecture 7 because, you know, you actually want to keep everything in the same module. You can also say it's the same if you type, you know. The difference is, you know, if you use this module here, then any class name in here, there's no prefix to it. But if you use module lecture 7, then everything in this class is part of that module. It's a bit of prefix differences. So in general, probably easy to read. So let's just do it. Module lecture 7, similar to. Okay, I cannot type. Are we done? In here, so this is the main file. Lecture7.rb is still the main file. So I need to make sure this file loads correctly. So now I require what? The search file, right? Require relative lecture 7 dot / search. I think you can do require search because in the gem spec it adds these folders to it adds everything in the lib folder to the path, so you can search the files. Huh? Alright. Anyway, so here's the search file. Search need mechanized. Alright. I refactor a little bit here. Now you're gonna have like create a new file called like 123 film search, or, you know, IMDb search or something. Right? Keep the master class or like the parent class more powerful. So even if as you see, I have nothing in here, and I save, right? I still can try to make sure that all of this will pass. So there's no present. It was, you know, unless this is blank. Let's just fix this one for good. I don't want this. Okay, I don't want this. I want the maybe this one's okay. I'll create I'll create another, another file. So for now, I'm too lazy to create a new file, but let's say 123 fin down here. Then it inherit from what class? Search. I think this class name you cannot do start with a number. So div initialize, and same thing with options. And here I can now paste this options what pattern. If it's not specified, and options URL. If not specified, then it's HTTP 123fin.fin.
Why you set for option?
Yes. And now you call super on that. Okay. So then I have to update my test. This guy is still failing like crazy up there. So where's that present thing? So just no more present, just same as before. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So let's check the test. Okay, search pattern. I need this guy to be available. Search. Let's just call pattern, yeah? So you see, I can refactor with confidence. Right? Let's run. What's the error now? What is that each links with? So I need the URL. Okay. Well, because now my test I need to update. Down here, there's no longer called search. Right? What should it be called? Fin 123, right? Alright. Save. What are you looking on the screen?
No, this is just on call.
The old one?
No.
Okay. So yeah, so this is good. I can keep the old one like this. If you don't pass anything, this is an empty search. I think this time our test may pass. Alright. So with confidence, I made my code a little bit better. I have 1, 2, 3 thing. Now I'm just gonna commit this very quickly. What have I done? I added VCR webmock. I refactored the search to something more abstract, and I have the film123 to be using some specific stuff, right? So you can call it like this, and then the setup is quite simple. Hook into webmock like that. All right, let's commit. So right, exactly. So the default is always like that. So to use the up here now, I cannot call this. I have to call the subclass of this one. Right? Like this. Obviously, I cannot call this now because I have to reload the console, and then I can call it. It will come up. But what we want is, because we have very slow internet, what we want is to call something like this and press enter and it works. How do we do that? Okay. So when you have any command here, right, it's in the path.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to add it to path, but at least I want an executable. So and then I worry about adding the path. So there's a folder. We need a folder called exact folder. We go back. Let's read this JavaSpec folder. It say this. Read this, okay? So there's a executable, right? Get all my look at my files. Just get this folder. This is a list of files, and then this get the files that start with. This is the beginning. Let's start with exe and then slash something. So I'm going to do slash film123. So I create a file called in this exe folder called film123, and that is just like a bash file, right? So this is shebang, right? User bin, yeah. So in here it's actually Ruby. Okay. So now you can write Ruby code. So you can say, obviously you can say hello here, and you need to, you either, because I have this shebang, I don't need to run the Ruby word in front of it, but I have to change the mod to executable. So exe slash what? This one. After I do that, then I can do film123 hello. Right? So instead of, you never have to use bash. You can always use Ruby. And even better, you can write your bash, the console script in Ruby and with test. Right? So now I'm going to, what do I need to do in here? You can say require lecture 7. And then that's it. And then you just call lecture 7 film123 new movies. So let's see if it works. Obviously not, because it doesn't know what lecture 7 is. It doesn't know where to find it. That's cool, that's fine. So we need to install this gem. Right now, when you run bundle console, the difference is that it's similar to running IRB and then run require, it require a few things and require lecture 7, but lecture 7 doesn't exist. You can actually require this file over here, lecture.rb, but then in that file it requires other libraries that IRB doesn't know. That's why you need to install this gem together. So it provides the syntax for that. You call run rake install, and you can add it to your system. Okay, but before you do rake install, it will require you to do rake build. So now you have, check it out. It's actually get ignored, but there's a package folder, and then there's a .gem file in this package folder. This file now you can install to your system. So I just rake build. Now I can say rake install. Okay. Okay. So after I install, if I call film123 now, I need to print. Alright. So you can say print. P is put. So it puts like that, and P means P is like puts. P is the same as put dot inspect. So it's a 2, but in this case we just inspect means it shows you the type. So it's an array. It will look like that. But now I print like this. It looks good, right? But I still have to go into this exe film123 thing. What if I go outside, do this? It's not there, right? So let me look into this. I have this gem spec. It actually say, hey, this is the executable, but I haven't commit, so that's why. So add, okay. Now add executable film123. Okay, let me try again. Build, rake, install, and it will. All right. So let's say, where is that lecture 7 thing? It's this is still the root folder, and then it installed the system. So, but can we get it from here? So, Did you see that? So where is it?
Oh,
It when you install, it actually copy this file to the
this automatically copy to the global laptop.
yeah. It copied to where RubyGem is installing your gem to binary. So if you go in here, so for example, if I go into this folder, CD, okay. Well, this is a script,
Fine,
right? I cannot CD, so I need to go into this folder myself. All right. Okay. Let's see. These are the things that get over time. This is dumped into that. Let's copy over. Okay. So, what if you want to run Film 123 on your computer to get this? Now it's cool, right? Right? Of course, now I can build another gem that say create a poem. Every time it comes up with a different love poem. Today's Teacher's Day, so you can generate a different Teacher's Day's quote, like Happy Teacher's Day, and then something else. But now I have this. I only need to do one more step, and you can run it. Right? Yeah, exactly. If you haven't, then when you type gem push, it will set up Ruby gems. But I already have it set up, so I just say release. After look at these guys, you have I'm not at the right place. Where is it? This guy. I'm at the where the gem is. So I have one more step. Release. And it's trying to release to Ruby gems. And what does it say? It doesn't know where to push. No, either specify the URL of the gem, blah blah blah.
You have to specify the origin GitHub or something.
Yeah, well, I already specify it in here, Ruby gems here. I'm just gonna comment out this block. Let's see. Oh yes, you have to push the gem to GitHub so that it can.
And the public repo.
Right, so you need a public repo, so nothing in here, that's good. Let's push it to public. So let's say Harley. I thought it's two more steps, but it's, okay, how do I create new repository, right? And we call it maybe just lecture 7. And then create it, done. This is an existing repository, so add there, push.
You have to configure.
Right, release, huh?
It automatically knows when the repo.
Yeah, it automatically, because it check, there's a,
Check
so it push it there, and if we're lucky, oh no, what happens? Then we have to do trace, because I think rubygems.org, did I type that correctly? I think it might need like HTTPS. Did I type that correctly? No, come on. Okay. I think I had it working without by commenting out this entirely. So allow pushes, either set this to allow pushing to a single host or delete this section to allow pushing to any host. Well, I guess HTTPS is one way to test, but I'm gonna delete this section, and that's probably what did I do? Allow pushing to any host, and then I say get push origin master and click release one more time. All right, push to Ruby gems. So you go to rubygems.org, and actually I should go to gem/film123. What is our gem name? Lecture 7. So on your computer, all of you, right? You can now, all the meta information is here. It knows where the home page is. It know how to, you can edit some basic information in here. But the rest of it, the information is still in the gem file config, right? So what's going on? Okay, where's the source folder? I think you can. Interesting. It doesn't. I think I didn't. I need to specify source somewhere, or maybe I should have put it in the homepage folder here. That should be a source. Whatever. It doesn't display. One thing you also need to know is back here. You see this thing? Release. Every time you push, the gem is actually tag it as a release tag, and then that's the gem version. And you can download from GitHub as well. So there's a backup version on GitHub, and there's a Ruby gems over there, so you can actually go here and pull it. Ruby gems is the phone directory. When you push a new gem, you cannot push. You have to increase the version number. You cannot override it. Now on your computer, right? If you type gem install, there's no need to do anything else. Type gem install lecture 7, and when you do that, you can just next step is what? It install to your system. So IRB, and there's no need of anything. You should just be able to type FIM123. And I have an error. Oh, I used require relative. I think that's so. There's a bug in my. Does it work? You should get this error and
Yeah.
So I need to fix this error because in my thingy I do require relative. That's not good. So I should just do require search. Let's say save.
10 gem ISO.
Oh. Cannot load. How do I do this?
Nice. It works.
Wait, it works?
Yeah.
When you type FIM123, does it display?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that I have too many gems
But it
things.
install 9 more.
Yeah, it's not when you install a gem, there's some dependent gems, right? Yeah. So you can, next step you can try to reduce the dependency gem, right? What are the dependent gems? Yeah, most gems because of mechanized. Mechanized, huh? Yeah, all of those are mechanized gem. I don't do anything else.
One question on the.
Gem uninstall FIM123. If you are sick of my gem, and then done. But as you can see, I just give you a free, an executable. That's a powerful thing because you can tell your friend. Any laptop has a Ruby thing, right? Runtime. So you say, hey, open your laptop, run gem, install something, enter, and then from that you can install your virus that way.
Some of my friends have a gem to get the Facebook feed to the control.
Exactly. Yeah, gem to get the Facebook feed. So you can use Mechanized to log in and get the feeds, right? So you can write a cron job that every night, pull the tweets from Twitter and say, oh, someone mentioned me or something like that. Save it. Okay.
I can't uninstall it.
To make it